Assassin's Creed formula is expansive, made up of technical ambition and open-world freedom sandwiched between a contemporary story and well-researched historical fiction. Previous attempts to replicate it on handhelds have met with little success. Now the PlayStation Vita is trying to bottle that magic with Assassin's Creed 3: Liberation. At a glance, it packs in all the kills and thrills of its older siblings, but does this 18th century New Orleans romp deliver? Liberation has you slipping into the knee-high boots of New Orleans resident Aveline, master assassin, abandoned daughter of a freed slave, and thorn in the side of the diabolical Templars. All these dots sound like they'd be interesting to connect, but good luck arriving at a coherent picture as you play through the game. Even with all the on-screen action, all the plotting and scheming and cold-blooded murder, Aveline's tale fails to connect all the vital motivations, characters, and concepts. Very little lip service is given to the Animus, the in-game virtual reality system that's behind these vivid reconstructions of the Order's past. It's still in there, with boundary walls decorated with glitchy glyphs and talk of DNA memory synchronization, which will surely leave newcomers intrigued and confused. Veterans, on the other hand, will be left scouring for connections through, get this, specific collectible citizens you have to murder, which consequently also serve as the only way to see the true ending. Equally baffling is Aveline's murky assimilation into assassinhood, the same with the Templar threat. It's at best a chalky outline dressed in arcane archaeology and European accents. Inference can be a powerful storytelling tool, but in Liberation's case, reading between the lines, tripping the setups, and trying to draw correlations just results in exposed plot holes and stifled yawns. Aveline's journey holds enough of a carrot to keep you going, but its revelations are spread thin and arrive with little impact. While New Orleans' open world might not yet be the Big Easy, there's still plenty to keep a girl busy and a ton of ways to go about it. Aveline's missions will have her canoeing down the bayou, racing through forgotten temples, climbing anything with a sheer surface, and tickling the ribs of bad men with her secreted steel, though not as often as you'd think. There's no shortage of corpses, but the premeditated, deliberate assassinations you associate with the series are few. Thanks to a new persona system, there's more range for expressing the fine art of murder, with each personality having its own drawbacks and perks. Aveline can go out in her assassin duds, which results in her having to contend with permanently aggressive guards. The more vulnerable slave persona blends in with street traffic. Finally, the lady persona is prim and proper, and while she can still slit a throat, the lady refuses to ruffle her dress, so no taking to the rooftops for a quick escape. Some missions force you to play as a certain archetype, though others will let you go your own way, or chide you with specific synchronization challenges to use multiple personas via quick change shops. It's a clever idea, and both the lady and slave bring a different take on stealth and hiding in plain sight. As the game gains momentum, the lady loses most of her savoir-faire, however. It turns out that climbing is just too crucial a part of the Assassin's Creed. Side quests and collectibles abound, though it can be difficult to discern their reward. There are so many different collectibles, from Mayan idols to alligator eggs, and no way to tell how many more you need to get to the finished set. Side quests will likely net you some currency, allowing you to buy more weapons and collectibles, or spin it into even more money in a shipping minigame. There's always some busy work to do, hours upon hours of it, but the best adventures take place in the story missions, which will last you well over 10 hours. The city, the bayou, and later Mexico all offer scenarios as different as their geography. Of course, there's also a lot to be said for just running around recklessly and treating the world as your jungle gym, filling out the map by scaling vistas and zeroing in on some collectible simply because it's there. There are two schools of gameplay at work in Liberation. The tried and true combat and climbing remain intact and accessible as ever, still managing to offer up an illusion of skill and guile, even though much of the associated play is automatic. If a situation gets too hairy, retreating to the trees feels like its own kind of victory. However, it's hard to really feel outnumbered when you can parry and dodge with ease, equipped with ample life and a wide array of weapons. What's lacking in challenge is made up in pure escapism and a little Shakespearean drama, the stabby kind, with instant kills and chain combos that offer visual rewards even as you fumble with the touchscreen. The other school consists of the remedial remedies afforded by the Vita. touchscreen targeting works well enough for a quick pistol pop. That's where the pleasantries end. Paddling the canoe with the rear touch while attempting to steer isn't in any way fun. Pickpocketing pedestrians with the rear touch is wildly inconsistent. And the Risk-inspired multiplayer game, which incorporates your Vita's location, has all the boring bits of a Facebook game. It requires excessive levels of cooperation, and everything you do is governed by long cooldowns. All this minus the compulsive social elements we associate with these games. We can be thankful for the lack of microtransactions. There are interface alternatives for some of the more annoying touchscreen offenders, though the absolute worst, like a specific accelerometer-controlled maze, will have you groaning. From the bustling Bourbon Street to the fetid swamps and beyond, Liberation looks and sounds great, with distinct environments that expound on both the urban and wild. There are occasional technical hiccups, and characters' faces are more wooden than their voice acting. Animation is also pretty top-notch, with Aveline's various personas all having distinct little flourishes, all the while blending kills and climbing skills into swift studies of movement. Swinging on the whip looks pretty dorky, though. There's no shortage of cliched metaphors to explain what Liberation is. It stopped short of the finish line, or if you prefer, it used all the ingredients but got the recipe wrong. Simply put, Liberation is a squandered game, starring an interesting character that goes nowhere. The premise is just interesting enough to keep you playing, but it's easy to finish up Liberation with the sense that you were tricked. The tedium of this disjointed journey is occasionally ameliorated by the joys of the quick kill, but it's not quite enough to ultimately redeem it. See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store.